Hey everybody! Welcome to Tavern Night or Tavern Talk. I almost said it because we were just talking about Tavern Knights.
You do that every time.
I gotta fix. Oh man, it messed everything up again. Hold on. Okay, put that there. There's that. I can make this bigger.
Mustache.
Chocolate
It's-
mustache. It's broken though.
Oh no.
He's
They give me they go. Guys, I was just talking. I was telling for those of you guys watching, I just did a really awesome body paint event in I did an event in Flint with body paint, and it was pretty fun. So
Cool.
and they gave out chocolate mustaches.
Cool. Mustache rides.
You know it's funny because I picked this up. I was like, wow, chocolate mustache, and I go, that sounds like a sexual thing,
A chocolate mustache.
like like a dirty Sanchez or something. You know, one of those things those disgusting things that nobody has ever actually done, but just they think it sounds funny.
You hope.
One would hope. Or they've done it once.
So
Once.
if you just stumbled onto our show, this is actually a D&D show, not a.
We talk about all sorts of things.
Where we talk about Russ's fetishes.
Hey now.
But yes, welcome to the
only
show.
A fetish if you're doing a lot. So
welcome to the show, everybody. This is where we talk about our D&D game and D&D in general. If you don't know, our D&D game is Tavern Knights. I am the DM, and I am joined by four people who are four of the six players. We are missing Rich and Alexandra. Alexandra will be missing this week's. She missed last game, and she will be missing again this week because of being in Scotland. The bitch,
lucky bitch.
And Russ will be missing this Friday as well.
Yes, I have a body paint. I am a body painter for those of you guys who are body painter or makeup artists. If you're just joining us, and I have a big body paint gig in Detroit on Friday night, and it's a strip club gig, so they tend to pay well.
Yeah. So we'll be missing two people, and I'm actually kind of bummed that you're not going to be here for this one, Russ, because I think you'd really.
I'm very bummed. I'm very bummed. I don't like missing our game, even for money.
Well, and this one's going to be some stuff that I think you would have found very entertaining too. So there's some stuff that's going to happen. And actually, depending on how far they get, I mean, they may not get that far, but I have a feeling it's not an overly long heist. I mean, heists don't take that long unless you really start fucking with them. So, because that's where you guys are. You guys are about to start a heist mission, where you have to break into a secret section, a restricted area of the Wizards Guild to find a book to break into a secret study of the demigod of magic, who is the former mayor of this town.
Zagig's
secret study, yes.
Secret study, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
What could go wrong?
Nothing can go wrong. This is
a
flawless plan.
All we need is a kid with glasses and a lightning bolt scar on his forehead to break into the restricted section of the library.
If only we had a wheelbarrow.
I'd rather have Short Round than Harry Potter.
Wow, there's a deep dive for you. You know the interesting.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No. You know the interesting thing is that actor Ki Huy Kwan has pretty much like stepped away from Hollywood for decades. He basically
he just came back actually.
Right, he just came back. He's in that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once or something like that.
I heard about
a multiverse movie. Yeah, it was like his agent basically contacted him and said, "There's a great part for you in this." And like I saw an interview with him, and he was like, "I stepped away because there wasn't any parts for me. There wasn't anything for Asian American men, or whatever." And then apparently like movies like Crazy Rich Asians and Shang-Chi and whatnot started being made. So he kind of went, "Oh, maybe there are things now." And so it's pretty cool. He was on Jimmy Kimmel and kind of explained it, and the crowd went nuts for him. And it's just really cool because it's also the kid that played Data in the Goonies, so everybody.
Yeah,
That's right.
and that was the thing. I know that there've been talk of them doing a new Goonies.
They've been talking about that for years.
but they're talking about doing it as the adults. The kids are now adults, and it's going to be their kids. Right. And he's actually said he would come back for that.
Yeah,
but that's really cool.
They've been talking about that for years. I believe it when I see the trailer.
Yeah,
you know. Yes, this Friday, be here.
Yes, this Friday, right here, this Twitch channel, 7:30 Eastern. We'll be playing D&D. So just to give a very quick recap of where you guys were, you had gotten back from Castle.
We met.
Yeah, you'd gotten back from Castle Greyhawk, gotten back to town. You'd talked to the guards, told them what you found. You did you did all your turn-ins. You started doing research. You spent like a week and a half. I think it was about 10 days total, doing various things. You sold some magic items. You researched the books that you found before they poofed back to the library in Castle Greyhawk, and you were able to find some info.
Crafted a couple things.
What's that?
Crafted a couple things.
Yes, crafted a couple things, and yeah. So you had basically it was a lot of downtime for you guys, which you haven't had. You also tried, I think, did you try looking in on various people during this one? Or was that the one before?
We did. Nope, we did both of them. I do know that Octavian did at least scry on Lauka, I believe.
That's right, and saw her chained to a wall in a stone, to a stone wall.
And he did attempt to scry on the hags, but
it failed.
In the end, found out that it failed.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's been an interesting couple of sessions, that's for sure.
But you guys also got a lot of info from the one book you got about where the staff might be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What are we pretty much certain it's in Greyhawk. It's in the castle. Like right, the other tower.
We have a strong feeling of it.
Right.
I think that he did I think Octavian was able to cast Commune and kind of got more of a like a foggy answer to it. That not a yes or a no, I think is what it came out to be.
Yeah.
That particular one.
Uncertain.
Yes.
But yes, you have a suspicion that it's in underneath one of the towers, but you don't know for sure.
Which is why we're looking for the book, to find the room, to find the key, to find the entrance to the tower.
Yes, because currently the Tower of Magic, which
classic
is
RPG.
Yeah, which is the only other tower that has access right now. The Tower of Magic is sealed off right now by the clerics of Zagig, the priests of Zagig, and they're not letting anyone in unless they have the key of Zagig. So that's what you're looking for right now.
In order to use the restroom, you must first go get the restroom key. It's a very old web video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yep, and I think we got called in by Kyrus's sister.
Yep,
we did.
Who had a bit of information on that.
Yeah, and a way in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, but
with a plan.
Yeah, with a plan. So she was going to smuggle you into the wizard's tower.
What the hell was that, Bob?
A cat.
Yeah, it was a cat. She was going to smuggle you into the wizard's tower, inside of this ancient magic item called a refuge bottle.
Kind of like a genie bottle, right?
Yeah, it looks like a genie bottle. And basically said 12 hours after you go in, let yourselves out. You got 6 hours to be back, and then you'll get picked up and come out 12 hours later, and you should be back in their headquarters.
Right.
What can go wrong?
Oh, so
Right.
many things.
No, nothing's gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
It's gonna,
I
everything
don't-
will go
It's gonna be
perfectly.
flawless.
I
Yeah.
don't like how the DM just said the word should be back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
But yeah.
And then if this isn't anything that somebody's sister could hold over our party's head for the rest of our lives. Remember when you did that heist and stole that precious artifact from them? They still don't know who it was. So you want to do another job for me?
Yeah, she pretty much
She
said
won't
that.
do that. She's family.
Said that
She'll do that precisely because she's family.
But she said that she knew what we were looking for. That we were looking to get into the castle or the magic tower, and that in order to find the key, she knows where it's at. And in exchange for giving us the location and all the plan, we just have to also steal this rare monkey statue as well, I think.
Yeah,
is what
bronze,
Oh yeah,
bronze
brass
monkey.
brass monkey.
Yeah, the bronze monkey, about the
The
size.
funky monkey.
Yeah, about the size of a halfling child.
It's
The
not
funky
small.
monkey.
Yep. Yes,
is not
the
small.
funky monkey. That's what.
It's
That's what she
probably
means.
about 2 feet tall.
Well, considering a halfling is 3 feet tall, so yeah, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
About 2 feet tall.
But a foot and a half to 2 feet.
If it's a halfling child, they're teeny. They're particularly wee. So,
So if need be, we can dress it up in some of Euchariah's clothes,
Right.
and weekend at Bernie's it out. Okay,
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
sweet. We got a backup plan.
I don't know if I have anything that can animate it.
Oh, no, weekend at Bernie's. It doesn't have to be animated.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we left off. So you guys are in the bottle, I believe, is where we left off.
Yeah.
Um,
No, we just got out
no,
of the
we
bottle.
just
Oh,
got
you just got out of the bottle. That's right, because there were robes inside the
Oh,
bottle
yeah,
for
yeah.
you. There were everyone is wearing robes except for Marikaris and Octavian. Oh, you're
I'm
not
not-
either.
I'm not-
Grimbold's not. Okay.
Nope. I have a spell for that.
Oh,
It'll look like I'm wearing robes, but I'm not wearing robes. If that means I got to take off my armor.
okay.
The
I'm
loud
in
ones
robes.
are not. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
We
and
also
then-
got before that. We also got ambushed on.
Oh,
the
that's
way
right.
Back.
Yes.
Did we? I don't know. I was taking a nap.
Which made for a very interesting encounter, I have to say.
mm,
Yes,
Yes, it did.
you got jumped by a bunch of faceless beings.
Motherfuckers.
Drow, right?
Well,
Or
yes,
like,
but they had masks
dark elf.
on that were like faceless. They were
But
they
we-
were
but we
black
we
faceless
figured them out
masks.
in the end.
What's
yeah.
that?
We figured them out in the end for those that.
Yeah, you took the masks off at every one that you caught. You only killed 3 of them. 3 of them got away, and they were all drow.
And they had this I don't know, magic or particular poison on their weapons that put Grim to sleep.
Yep.
And then
No. See, that was my dice that put me to sleep.
yeah. And Octavian is going there with his new tankard, and like slapping Grim across the face, trying to wake him up, and nothing's waking him up.
I want some of that poison. I'm gonna have to have a little talk with
But
somebody's sister about getting me some of that poison.
But that was a very interesting encounter, being able to having one person down like that, and
Particularly one of your heavy
Yeah.
hitters.
exactly, yeah.
The one that
We're-
usually makes sure things don't escape.
Yeah, we're lucky that only one of us went down.
I went down for a moment too.
Oh, did you?
There was a time that, Chris, you were hitting so well that I was.
Oh, yeah.
'cause we were all targeted all in like one area, and we were just getting kind of picked off from up top because it was about 20 feet or so.
20
above
feet
us.
on one side of the street and 30 feet on the other.
Yeah, we were like, sitting ducks at that point, and
it was a well-planned ambush.
Yep. Yeah,
it certainly was. It certainly was.
I got hit enough, and had 20 points of health, and then he deals another 36 points of damage to me, and I'm like, "Yep, that."
Oh yeah, because that was the guy that got kicked off the roof. And
I have a suggestion for the next time something like that happens, that only Klimbram goes up and just starts punching people down, and the melee people don't go running up after her, and then they also kick them all down to where Euchariah is trying to sling spells. And they just all go, "Oh, look, I'll stab that little guy."
just stab the little guy. That's fine.
Well, that's kind of what they did, because they're like, "Oh, the guy in the plate mail kicked me off the roof. Oh, soft target wizard." Yeah,
I didn't actually get stabbed. I kept on getting hit by those arrows.
But what took you down was a shadow blade.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was he created a blade. He actually formed a blade of shadow in his hand and sliced you with it.
Yes.
Correct.
And then when he dropped, the blade disappeared.
Yeah, shadow magic or whatever, it's.
I want a shadow blade. Shadow axe.
You don't have the lights on down there, do you, Renee?
No.
Yeah, I can tell you're kind of you're in the shadows yourself.
I'm in the moment. I'm trying to get in character. Get ready for Friday. Yeah, no, the light's all the way over there.
Yeah. But yes, I think this Friday's gonna be a lot of fun. It'll be cool. It'll be a good time for you guys, I think. The four of you that will be there. We are going to continue the story, even though the two people are down. We're going to be down two people. Hopefully, after that, everyone will be back for the next one. So,
yeah, it shouldn't be a problem.
We have to fight our way out of the Wizard's Tower.
You never know. You never know what's going to happen, because you're being dropped off on the 4th floor. That was what you were told. The restricted section on the 4th floor.
Yeah, and that's where we ended. We exited out, and we're in the particular room that we think we're supposed to be in.
Oh, we're in like quarters.
Yeah, it's like a bedroom of some sorts.
Yeah, we have there are 2 beds there. So, but hopefully on the same level.
That's what you're hoping. So we'll see.
We know yet.
We'll see what happens. 7:30 this Friday. But other than that, I'm hoping you guys are still enjoying the story and the way things are going.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. That's why I think that I'm so excited right now. So like right now, it just so happens that in Critical Role where I'm at, they're doing like a heist. And I know that they did heists in other campaigns as well. And that's something that we've never done before, was something like this in our campaign at all. We're so goody that we didn't even know what bribing was until with our group. So this, like listening to that and like getting into something similar here is really exciting, and I'm all for that. Like the new role play, the planning of spells, and our strategy and trying to get in and out and being stealthy and blend in and get what we want. I think that'll make for a unique experience that we haven't had before yet. So I've been looking really forward to that.
Yes, I am also very excited.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it is something that I think, particularly being an older, like an old school D&D guy, a heist kind of mission, it really wasn't something that I think a lot of times we thought of in early gaming. It was almost, it was always, go and save the princess or get the treasure or kill the demon or whatever. And the whole concept of a heist mission or adventure is really fucking cool. And I'm excited to delve into this.
And seeing how each of our characters are approaching it, like Euchariah, he doesn't have any allegiances to a guild of any kind. He's more of a chaotic good. He, like, if it's for the greater good, and there's a bunch of stuffy old wizards that are holding some like magical items that might be good for everyone, fine. Like, we got to do what we got to do. Let's go for it.
Well, see, that's more of a lawful neutral type of attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, chaotic good is
even though
you generally do things that are good, but it's not necessarily for the greater good because it's all about the individual. The individual is greater than the whole, is what chaotic is.
Well, he's also pretty selfish about this and very excited about seeing that he's going to be throwing up detect magic quite a bit in this and seeing what he can find to benefit himself too.
All right. I'm gonna have to
detect magic. Okay, here's the blind token.
But seeing Octavian, like, I was talking to Rich this weekend about it, and Octavian is very conflicted about this whole situation. So he's role playing it in a completely different sense about how, even though he knows that he needs to do it, Octavian's in a very conflicted state at the moment, because that does not go with what he's traditionally, what he would never actually go for it on his own. Mm-hmm. I think he's only going along with it because he kind of has no choice in order to find the key that we need.
But yeah, Merrick Harris
is ecstatic.
Merrick Harris wouldn't necessarily break into Merrick Harris is chaotic good too. He's not a lawful good paladin, he's chaotic good, but he still probably wouldn't necessarily choose to break into like a wizard's guild unless the circumstances were fairly dire. This is a big deal. This is a big part of our mission to kind of stop the bad guys. So he's rationalized it out quite a bit.
Klimbrum is very ecstatic because she loves to steal stuff out of the restricted section.
You do. That's how we got. That's
okay,
how
rebel
we got.
You.
I'm gonna need to have 2 leashes then.
It's testing her own skills.
That's
never looking for something in particular.
That led us onto the path of Sarah's book. Absolutely. Yep. That was, and it became a very, a small side quest that turned into like a defining moment for our, for us as a whole, and seeing that conclusion.
Let's see. What is one of my personality traits? I watch over my friends as if they were a litter of newborn puppies.
Oh, God.
I'm a dwarf. I will take that literally. I'm going to put a leash on at least one of you.
Yeah, so Klimbrum was originally chaotic good as well, but I would argue that she's probably closer to neutral good of just the way I've been playing her overall. Personally, I don't know if I actually officially made the alignment shift, but just with the way I've been playing her,
I can see her still being chaotic good.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought of chaotic good as somebody who is interested in justice over the law.
Robin Hood is usually considered chaotic good.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
Then that makes sense. Then I would say she's still chaotic good then.
Honestly, most superheroes, quite a few anyway, a lot of the more traditional ones would be considered pretty much chaotic good. Considering if you really think about the fact that because just the idea of being a vigilante is against the law.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or being a superhero.
Batman's lawful neutral.
Right.
So is Judge Dredd. Mm-hmm. But they're different spectrums.
Right.
So Judge Dredd is lawful neutral in that you break the law, that's it. You're done. Dead. Right. Whereas Batman is never kills, I bring them in.
Right. Where's Captain America? He's chaotic good.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, no, he's lawful good. No, he's not. Captain America has no problem breaking a law if he feels it's unjust.
Yeah.
So
he does what he feels is right.
Correct. All the time, every time.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Spider-Man. Same thing with, most of the Justice League, most of the Avengers.
Now, see, I could argue Captain America might be neutral good because he does whatever it is that is good. He doesn't care about law or chaos. It's for the good.
I would say he's being neutral good still has a level of selfishness to it. He will still sacrifice himself for the greater good,
which is not a chaotic tendency.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more than a neutral tendency. I don't think a neutral good character would do something like that. They might sacrifice themselves for their friends and their family. Captain America would sacrifice himself for his country, so
yeah. So the way that it's defined here is that a chaotic good character acts as his conscience directs him with little regard for what others expect of him.
And I think he does that. Captain America has a great deal. This is a fascinating direction, by the way. Captain America has a great deal that's expected of him, but he does what he feels is right.
A neutral good character does the best that a good person can do. He is devoted to helping others. He works with kings and magistrates, but does not feel beholden to them.
See, I do think that Captain America does feel somewhat beholden, though, to the American
which would be a lawful trait.
But I still don't say he's lawful. He's just not. He's not so rigid.
Here's the thing.
I mean, in Civil War, he's the one that went against the government.
Right, but here's the thing. You can't. This is where alignment, and this is a problem that everyone that a lot of people have with alignment, and it's that alignments are too rigid to actually describe an actual person.
Correct.
Because every
people are
person,
more complicated than that.
People are more complicated than just this. You can't describe any, and that's a great example though, is Captain America, the way that he does things. There are times where he could be lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good. He's always good.
Yeah.
Unless he's brainwashed by Hydra. But,
by Hydra, right.
So it's he always has that, but it depending on the situation is which way he goes, which is why I think that he's neutral good, because he fluctuates between the two. He always does what he believes is the best possible thing for a good person to do, and that's the whole. And then they even talk about that in the first Avenger, in that when he's talking with the doctor, he's like, I don't want a perfect soldier, I want a good man.
Right.
And that's what Steve is. He is a good man.
Absolutely.
And he never says no. I can do this all day.
He kind of needs to learn and I don't know, some healthy boundaries.
Know when to say no when to quit. Know when to
on your left.
Well, this is a cool thing. I mean, what superhero than any of you guys? I know this is more between Chris and I, and maybe Bob. I don't know. What superhero do you think would be a good example of a lawful good character?
There's a lot of lawful neutrals. I can't think of an actual lawful good off the top of my head. Superman's probably the closest.
But he's not. He's really more chaotic good. It's got no problem.
Well, it depends on when you talk about him. Early Superman was very lawful good.
Sure.
Because they made him the ultimate American superhero.
Went to the Blue Boy Scout. Sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of one.
Okay, so here we came up.
Oh, you actually pull up superheroes that are in their alignments. I know we've talked about this on Nerds before.
Yeah, it's been a while, and this is a very appropriate venue for it. Black Widow. Okay, so here's top 10 for Marvel. Right quick from CBR. And CBR sometimes has shit articles, but Black Widow, neutral good. I would say that's relatively accurate.
Yeah, except she has a code. Well, I mean, I don't know the comic book one as well as I do the MCU one. And the MCU one, she's got that code of.
She's got a code in the MCU as well. So, but I would say, yeah. I mean, where we have talked about, we put a lot of superheroes in there, particularly Marvel superheroes in their Hogwarts houses. So, Let's see, number 9, we have Hawkeye is chaotic good.
Yeah, I'd see that.
I'd say that's true. Now each one of them has.
And then when he went Ronin, he was much more chaotic neutral.
Oh yeah. It says we fluctuated between a chaotic and neutral alignment for Barton. While we initially labeled him the latter, we shifted after reviewing some facts. First, he was a villain before he went straight and joined the team. Second, even when he was a member, he still went his own way several times, particularly when Cap wasn't around to keep him calm. He's always been in conflict with one Avenger or another during his long tenure. He and Quicksilver got into a tiff when Barton expressed romantic feelings for his sister Scarlet Witch. He's also been known to question the decisions of team leaders, including those from Captain America. Over the last few years, he's fluctuated in his chaotic alignment as he becomes a leader of the West Coast Avengers and the Thunderbolts, dying and coming back up to life a few times also gave him a new perspective on life. See, that's the other thing. Characters, and in D&D and in something like this, characters are fluid. They should be fluid. Your alignment should potentially or can potentially change depending on what happens to the character and you know and how they grow.
And it's more of a this is the way you act in a typical situation.
Mm-hmm.
In most situations, you're going to act this way. It doesn't mean you're always going to act that way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But now, if you start just going through and breaking people's fingers to get them to talk, I'm going to shift your alignment.
Yeah.
Especially if you're good. I'm going to be like, no, you know, we're going to talk.
Honestly, like I think like one of the best examples of like a lawful good character that I can think of is probably Yoda. Because
no, he's not.
But
he's lawful neutral.
But he sticks to that Jedi code.
Which makes him lawful neutral. Because he doesn't care about good.
It's just the code.
It's just the code. If the code means that something that people have to die.
Good, because I thought that's what lawful good was.
No, lawful neutral is you stick to a code. And lawful good is you will sacrifice yourself for others. You will lay down on a grenade. You will do whatever it is to prevent a disaster from happening.
You will defend the king and the kingdom.
Yes. You put other people ahead of yourself.
So then Captain America is a good example of that, especially like before he gets his the super soldier serum, because he literally does that.
Yes, but he also when it it's in the name, lawful good. A lawful good person sometimes will they'll still defend the law even if they don't feel it's just or it's the right thing, because it is the law. It's like, hey, this is the law, this is the rules. Captain America has got no problem breaking the law if he has to. So an excellent an example here, speaking of lawful good, number 8, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, is listed as lawful good. I have a tough time naming any superhero as lawful good because, like I said, just intrinsically the idea of being a superhero or a costume vigilante is against the law. But Carol Danvers is also part of the military. She is she's a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. She actually works within the confines of the law from what she can do. Bob, you're going to say something?
I have been thinking about it, and I'm thinking of Reed Richards as lawful good.
Yeah, I thought of him. He's one I did think of.
I would say that's pretty accurate as well.
Oh, that's a good example. So this has some examples. This is mykindofmeeple.com. And they have examples of lawful good characters. Now, I don't agree with all of the men, but the female characters, it's Taranga Leela in Futurama, Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, and General Amaya from the Dragon Prince, who I think would definitely be lawful good. The male characters are Superman, Captain America, and this one I have trouble with is RoboCop.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah, he's more lawful neutral. I see him as lawful neutral.
I think if you consider the environment that he's in too. He's a cop and he's using deadly force when necessary. I don't know, man.
But his personal code, he will go with that over the actual law and being a cop.
Yeah.
Because he has a personal code that he sometimes goes to that instead of being, what the law is, because he thinks the law is wrong.
Yeah, so D&D 3.5 actually labels the lawful good alignment as Crusader.
So
well, yeah, which is one of the reasons why paladins were always, particularly in first and second edition, paladins were always considered lawful good. They were always attached to their church. They were attached to their order.
What would you put Picard's alignment as?
I'd say he's lawful good. He sticks to that prime directive. He's very much a rules follower.
Yeah.
But he will break them if it's for the greater good.
Only when he absolutely has to.
Yep.
So
only if it's a difference between
life and death,
or saving a civilization.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go pretty extreme examples.
Yes. But yes, I would say Picard is lawful good. I would agree with that.
Whereas like Shatner's, Kirk was a lot more chaotic good.
Yeah.
Riker's chaotic good.
Riker's way chaotic good. Because they're, shit. Kirk broke the rules left and fucking right, man.
Yeah.
He cheated
every episode. Every episode. Kirk was like, prime directive says we shouldn't do what we're about to do.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna do it anyway.
Normally I would cite the prime directive, but I know you're just going to ignore it anyway. We're becoming friends already.
Exactly. You know what? Let me run through these real fast, or otherwise I'm not going to forgive myself. Number 7, Henry Pym, chaotic good. Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, neutral good. That makes sense to me, I'd say. The Scarlet Witch, chaotic good. The very force of chaos. I would say ultimately chaotic good for her. I mean, in the comic books, if you look at the movie version of the Scarlet Witch, maybe not so much. Number 4, the Vision, lawful good. I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Now it says Thor, lawful good. That's kind of hard. I mean, he's a prince and a king. He's a king now, actually. I just don't see him as a lawful good guy because he used to go up against his father all the time. He used to be kind of rebellious and whatnot. So I don't know.
He used to just go kill giants for fun.
Right. So
it wasn't all a crusade. It was just, hey, me and the boys are going to get drunk and go beat up on the trolls. And the giants. That's not exactly.
Not exactly like. Number 2, we have Iron Man at neutral good, which I'd say is pretty accurate. And this listing does have Captain America as lawful good. And I'm going to read this right. It's real short. When young kids and cosplayers want to dress as superheroes, everyone wants to be Captain America. Luckily, there are enough versions of him that can all be some form of Cap. He's a crusader due to his resilience, tenacity, and the determination to finish the job. With or without his shield, Cap is there to protect others. When his values to defend those people don't sync with those in power, he's willing to take a leave of absence and dress in a wacky costume until they relent. So, and which is true. He has divested himself of this Captain America identity several times to as a protest to what's going on, but then during the Civil War comic book, he didn't give up being Captain America. He chose to stay as Cap to make a statement against the powers that be and against superhero registry,
which is still a lawful good thing in that you stand up against what you see as injustice.
Mm-hmm. So I think you're right, Chris. I think that alignment, it is one of the big problems with alignment, is that it's just too rigid. I liked in Kryn in Dragonlance that there was you had a spectrum. You had a like a circle basically, or a chart of where your alignment would lay, and the dungeon master would very much take your actions into account about shifting your alignment one way or the other, which could greatly affect your class's powers. If you were if you were a Knight of Solamnia, or if you were a mage,
Well,
you know, your alignment shift could really affect
yeah, that's the weird thing too about Kryn is that it had there were areas of Kryn where divine magic didn't exist for a long time.
Mhm.
And there were other areas where there was no arcane magic because the mages had all been run out.
Right.
So I mean,
or at the very least, it was extremely rare.
Yeah, I mean, it's an odd world when it comes to.
Well, Kryn would have been considered a low magic until the dragons came back. It would have been, and the gods came back. It would have been considered a low or extremely low magic campaign.
Yes,
because mages were extremely rare. You didn't see, you know, in the Forgotten Realms, magic's everywhere. You see mages all over the place. Same thing with Greyhawk and
yeah, they're both high magic realms.
Right. Whereas Kryn, I mean, even after the dragons and the gods came back, mages were not. They still weren't everywhere. Being able to cast spells, being able to be a mage, and pass the wizards, what is it, the wizard's test or something like that. It was the wizard's the test of high sorcery, because you could be a hedge mage and you could cast like little spells, like cantrips essentially and stuff, and the mages didn't really pay attention to you. But if you were powerful enough to advance beyond cantrips and start casting second level spells, that's when the mages showed up and said, guess what, you're going to school.
Yep, and that could kill you.
You're going to school or else.
Right, exactly. I mean, so we'll let you choose which school you want to go to.
Which robes?
That's a death or cake.
Yeah.
Which one do you want?
I have the cake, please. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. But yeah, they were like, yep, you're going to school so you learn how to control your powers. Otherwise, we're going to take you out. Which is actually a kind of a trope with. There's been a number of fantasy settings where that kind of thing was a thing. You know, where they basically were like, you know, we're going to send you, you're going to go to school and learn, or we take you out of the picture. Now, on the other end, neutral, or how about the evil classes? We've got a lot of characters. You know, I mean, everybody says one of the best examples of lawful evil is Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. And I've always agreed with that. I mean, he works within the Empire. He is evil and dark. And if you watch the latest episode of Obi-Wan, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to in about an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. I just watched it earlier and just wow.
Wow. I watched it yesterday. Fuck me running. Oh, that was intense.
Still have problems, but we'll get to that tomorrow.
Sure. I'm sure you do, Chris. And actually, I want to talk to you about that too, because John pointed something out to me when we were discussing one of the things we discussed about Leia and her knowledge of Obi-Wan and stuff. One of the best examples of, but in the comic books and stuff, a great example of lawful evil is Lex Luthor. And a really, one of the best examples of chaotic evil is, of course, the Joker. Those are almost
the definition of chaotic evil is the Joker, right?
More or less. And in fact, it's one of those things that it's almost easier to nail down the evil, the evil alignments than it is the good alignments. Because
Dr. Doom, I think, is a great example of lawful evil.
You know, I feel lawful evil.
He might even be neutral evil because he's such a megalomaniac that
right. And there's a little chart here that actually shows several of them, and it lists him, Dr. Doom, as neutral evil. Now, if you really consider those once again, neutral evil and lawful evil can still be a little fluid, because Dr. Doom in more recently has acted more heroically. He took over as the invincible, or wait, no, he took over as Iron Man for a while, and acted as a superhero for a while. I'm granted he's still Victor Von Doom and he's still arrogant and kind of shitty, but his face had been healed and he had kind of a new lease and blah blah blah. So he was acting as more of a hero. Same thing with Lex Luthor. He kind of conned his way into the Justice League and was wearing a suit of armor that had a big S shield on it, and was kind of working within the Justice League.
And Magneto's another one that, I mean, he was probably, I'd say, lawful evil, lawful to neutral evil, and then
more neutral evil.
And then, but then he took over the school and actually did good things. And oh, did we lose Russ? Yeah, looks like Russ froze.
Oh.
Oh,
I'm not sure if he can even hear us right now.
He probably can't. I have a feeling his internet. We're gonna lose him. I think he's gonna just disappear in a minute and have to come back.
So this is a very, very curious topic, because I always, considered him, my character, Yukrai, as more trying to be more of the chaotic good.
Oh, Russ said his power flickered.
Oh, so I guess, like, how would you feel like we've been playing our characters based off of what you know of our alignments? Are we within that realm? I'm like looking at it online right now and yeah, Russ just dropped off.
Yeah.
And on a particular site where they're talking about alignment, you were talking about lawful good being kind of like known as a crusader, and like the chaotic good was kind of as a rebel. And one of the descriptions that I found was the chaotic good character does what is necessary to bring about change for the better, but disdains bureaucratic organizations in a way that get away of social improvement. Places high value on personal freedom, and usually intend to do the right thing, but their methods are usually disorganized, but benefit the rest of society. And it's kind of like the way that I've always tried to present it, but I don't know, maybe it's like also a little bit more than more like neutral side rather than the good side.
Yeah. In all honesty, I don't pay attention to alignments so much, other than that you guys are
drastic.
Yeah, unless it's something drastic. Like I said, if you start breaking fingers to get to get information or something like that, then I'm going to start paying attention to it. But as long as you guys are doing the basic things to keep going,
why wouldn't you break fingers?
Okay,
that's a very lawful, neutral Punisher thing to do.
It is. Well, it depends. So I'm saying for the good characters, that would definitely not be something they would do. So yeah, Russ is currently waiting for his router to reboot. So I'm sure he'll join us back here in just a little bit. But yeah, the alignments, that's one of the things. So alignments are something that get talked about a lot, and there's actually been a lot of talk of just doing away with them completely in D&D. Nobody uses them anymore. It used to be when it started off, there was just lawful, neutral, and chaotic. Those in the basic set, those were your alignments: lawful, neutral, chaotic, and it was basically good, neutral, evil. If you were chaotic, you were basically evil. It really came down to the three alignments were lawful, good, neutral, chaotic, evil. It was the extremes of the spectrum. So when first edition came out, that's when they introduced the good, neutral, and evil aspects along with those. So instead of just being 3, it became 9.
And people have been fighting about them ever since.
Yep. And at one point,
thank God!
There he is.
Welcome back.
I don't know what happened. I was in a dark place. Power flickered.
Yeah.
Hey, the backseat of a VW?
But that's an uncomfortable place.
It's an uncomfortable place.
It can be a dark place too.
It can. I was gonna say, as I was so rudely interrupted by a interruption in power, Magneto is an example of an evolution of a character going from like a neutral evil kind of stance to more of a neutral good kind of stance, because of his experience and then like growing as a character. I mean, the guy was a Nazi, survivor of the Nazi Holocaust.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
particularly difficult. So
yeah. So while you were gone, Russ, we had kind of moved past the superhero thing and started talking more about how they've actually been talking for years about getting rid of alignments in D&D.
Correct.
Because they're not used. Really, people don't really use them. But one of the things I was going to say, I was talking about the original box set, the Red Book set, where it was lawful, neutral, chaotic. Those were your 3 alignments. That was it. And it was basically good, neutral, evil is what they really kind of came down to, the way that they described them. But the other thing was, in the early editions, like even in first edition, I believe, one of your languages that you knew was alignment, was your alignment language. It was like a secret language that only those of your alignment knew, which I thought was always thought was one of the dumbest things in the world. It's like, what the fuck? A bunch of people like goody two shoes are out there and they know some secret like language that.
And you know. Like,
but what happens if you change alignment?
What does an upside down pineapple mean? When you know, you know.
That came up this weekend.
They did for you too?
Yeah.
Because it turned into a whole thing on TikTok.
Yeah, it was a whole thing this weekend because of Clappy wore a pineapple shirt at one point. And everybody's like, oh, but they're right side up, so.
They're right side up, so.
What the hell does an upside down pineapple mean?
Oh, if you know, you know, Russ.
If you know, you know.
I'm surprised you don't know.
Yeah,
that's really surprising.
All right.
Then now he's Googling it.
Fuck all of you.
It ultimately is a visual signal to say that the couple are swingers.
Yeah.
Is it in a nutshell?
Yeah.
It's
a swinger thing.
I've never been a swinger.
Which is funny because
how much I've tried.
I have a buddy that he wants everyone to have a code word when they come in, and I said mine will be pineapple, and he's like, "You can't have pineapple. It means you're a swinger."
Yeah, but mine is acceptable.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have to explain what bukkake means to his kids when I walk in the door and yell bukkake.
Alrighty then. Nothing like explaining bukkake to a 8-year-old, whatever.
But one thing I was asking,
no, actually, he's what? Kane's 12 now.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
he probably knows what bukkake is.
Not one of his kids has ever asked because they just don't care. It's like, oh yeah. Dad's
Emma,
friend.
his daughter's about to graduate or has graduated actually, and his oldest son graduated a couple years ago. So.
Alrighty then. Where were we? I can't even remember.
Well, one thing,
alignment.
When you dropped off for us, one thing I was asking Chris was like, I always try to play my character with that particular alignment in mind overall, but it's obviously like a very fluid, depending on situation to situation, as Chris pointed out, like how you would normally react on a day-to-day senses, but. I was kind of going through, like, since I think most of us consider ourselves chaotic good, I went through a particular definition that I happened to find online, and I was wondering, like, should I be considering myself that, or would I, should I think that I'm more of on the neutral side and be approaching certain situations differently?
I think you're chaotic good. Your whole thing with not giving a shit about what the consequences are, but just getting knowledge on magic and stuff like that that's very chaotic.
Even if it like one shots 2 of the party members, it's gotta be something underneath it.
I was so convinced of that.
Make it a deal with a giant octopus.
That too.
But I was meaning for all of our characters in general. But yeah, obviously mine too is how I approach it, because like one of my I also take into not just I guess it's more the like the traits and the flaws that I chose for like my character. I try and approach those the way that I was, not stupidly, but in a way that makes sense. I mean,
and I think you've done a good job.
Yeah, no, I think you've done a brilliant job at it.
So yes, for the most part, you guys are doing really good.
So one of mine is that
Renee loves it.
I
not so much.
I do risk a little too much for lost
definitely not.
knowledge, but like that statue that you made the example of, you know, like I was like convinced, like not just Eucharia, but Pete also was thinking that thing is freaking hiding something. It's not just there for shits and giggles. Just
Guess
for,
what?
Like,
It was there for shits and giggles.
God damn it.
Was it really?
Mad wizard.
Just there for
It was
shits and
just
giggles?
there. There's nothing there.
Hey, if they mess with this, they'll die.
I would be like, personally, I like Pete. I was convinced that it was protecting some entrance or some treasure, or
you can always go back and look.
No.
Yeah, we'll stand back and, you know, drag your body out of there every time.
But I think that everyone else, from what I've noticed, like has been playing, you know, their alignments, their ideals or flaws pretty well.
I think everyone has been doing a good job.
Just remember, I mean, the alignments are meant to be a guideline.
Right. And honestly, I like that they've introduced the things like flaws and the bonds and things like that and ideals and things like that, because that gives you, I think it gives a better idea of who your character is instead of alignment. And I can see doing even more of that rather than doing alignments, just doing those rather than alignment.
And that's kind of like where I like actually pick those ideals based on what I wanted my alignment to be. I was looking through what the options are, and I'm like, this is what I felt like my character would embrace and be based off of their background and where they want to go. And I've actually probably, you know, played it more towards those, the ideals and the flaws, because, you know, it's not just that, you know, we're all just perfect superhumans or super, you know, like dwarves and that of like our particular race. It's a lot more complex than that, especially the flaws. I think Klimbrim is done very well with that too, with like the way that, you know, Renee, you portray Klim with her flaws as well. I know that you actually kind of embrace the way that like she's an imperfect, you know, person, and you role play that very well as at the same time too.
Oh, thank you.
I think we all do a pretty good job. I do
absolutely.
I do what I can to kind of express that Marikaris struggles with trying to stay on the straight and narrow as a paladin, when there's a lot of things that are pushing him to not be.
You have a lot of challenges. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like this particular heist, I'm sure, for example, would be like a perfect example of it.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I mean, he's got a sister who's a rogue. He's got, you know, he wishes there are times when Marikaris has wanted to just like haul off and smack somebody when he's like, because he's a big boy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that actually for Karis as you know, as a character, knowing the fact that his sister is in that type of, you know, world, that's direct, you know, conflict with Karis with himself as well. Like, but she's family. You're going to protect family over anything else, and I think that you've portrayed that very well.
There's several times
with all the interactions, even though you know that, you know, she's not on the straight and narrow. She does do things a little on the shady side.
Right.
You normally would have tried to bring that person to justice.
A little on the shady side. She's a crime lord.
No, not quite.
No, she's a crime lord. She is a crime lord.
If you go to that extreme, I'm not sure if it would be a crime lord status.
Is it, Chris? Isn't it more like she's kind of a mercenary leader of a mercenary troop?
No, they're a thieves guild.
Oh, thieves. Okay.
Crime lord.
The Talons are a thieves guild.
Okay.
They're currently and she's explained this, that they're currently trying to establish a foothold in Greyhawk.
That's right.
And so they need to be quiet about it, because if the Thieves Guild finds out, then they're dead.
Right.
So it's a competition of the main Thieves Guild in Greyhawk.
They're basically moving in on a Thieves Guild that's been there for hundreds of years.
Right. Their territory. And so, I mean, there are several times that I, as Karis, has wanted to like walk in there, grab my sister by the back of her collar and drag her out because I'm much bigger than she is, drag her out. But I also know that that would probably end with death, mine. And so there's also the paladin in him that wants to do the right thing and wants him to drag his sister out and take her, not necessarily take her to the law, but take her home and have her
save her from herself almost.
But at the same time, he also knows that would be an exercise in futility because she just basically fuck off on her own at her first opportunity, and it would essentially get him killed because
dogs are so weird. Sorry,
all of her people would be like, would immediately defend her. So there's been a few times that he's wanted to just start knocking skulls together to find out what happened to Lauka. And there would even be some people that would defend that as a paladin type action because he's trying to save somebody and he's trying to basically save the princess, stop the bad guys. But at the same time, a paladin really shouldn't go around just like beating people up for information, So
leave that to the ranger.
Right. Karis has been gets pretty conflicted at times, and most paladins do. You enter, unless you're in pretty much all lawful and chaotic good group, almost any time a person plays a paladin, they're going to come up against, and quite often like lawful good clerics and whatnot too. They're going to come up against things that are going to challenge their moral fortitude, and it's hard. It's really hard sometimes.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with with your backstory, Russ. It was really cool for me to create Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like her character that I've come up with.
I love what you've done with her.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm liking all the interactions that we've had.
Yeah, with what I did with yours and with your background as well, Yukarai, I think that was just a blast. So.
Oh yeah, and you threw a lot. You threw a lot of things from left field actually on there, like a lot of reveals that were really surprising and not something that we actually discussed at all, but it just made sense.
Oh yeah,
narratively overall. And seeing like the intertwining of certain characters and the overall arcing story, I think was very well done. So I have to give you credit on that, like how you're actually intertwining everything together between where we're going, the overall story, other characters, the fact that it's like kind of like, they're all interconnected.
And that's the thing. So all I asked for you guys was I want a basic understanding of your background, where you came from. We'll figure out like where you came from, but based on your backgrounds, we'll come up with an idea of just the basics, and then from there I'm just going to run with it. And so we've seen most of your backgrounds. Now the two new characters, Halt and Grimbold, we haven't seen a whole lot from, but otherwise you guys have met everyone's parents from the original group, except for that are still in the group, except for Marikaris. That's it, actually, except for Marikaris, because you've met Climbrums, you've met Eucharias, you've met Octavians.
Mm-hmm. Well, we haven't met like Laukas or Phelan's.
Well, right, I said anyone that's still in the group.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Phelan, you have no idea who his parents are, because he told you all sorts of stories about where he came from.
They're probably different every single time he tells a story.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure.
Bards just pop up spontaneously.
Oh, that was one of the other things. Speaking of bards,
Renee knows his backstory.
Yeah. So
because I knew all about Phelan before he joined the group.
So one of the other things that came up in the last game was you guys met a bard who asked you all about who had heard that you had just gotten back from Castle Greyhawk and wanted to hear more about your adventures and what you were doing, and you guys gave him a whole bunch of stories about what you did inside the castle. Now, what I don't remember, and I'll have to go back and look, did you guys tell him anything about what you're actually looking for?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
We did not specify anything.
No, we were just
that.
adventurers going in for loot, essentially.
I have to say that I think that all of us were kind of like on the same page without actually speaking it to each other.
Yeah.
That we were not going to mention that.
Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
The other thing that came up in the last game was you guys actually have a name now.
Oh, it came up before.
Oh, did it? I thought it was just
Yeah,
this last one was where it...
No.
I think it was briefly mentioned
game before.
in the game before last.
Oh.
But now it was like the real like official like title, like, you know, as we
it was introduced in game.
Yeah.
But to that what was his name? Arcus? That bard?
Yeah.
Like that's where we were like embellishing our name and our exploits and what our...
Yeah, and I thought you were gonna go with the one name, and then you just went with one more instead of using the
Knock-Ein.
Knock-Ein, yeah.
I like one more.
No, I like the idea of we say it in a different language every time someone asks us.
Yeah, I do like that too.
So at Greyhawk, you're known as one more. In Phandalin, you're Knock-Ein. In Divers, you're something else. And oh man, allergies are killing me. My eyes, I almost want to rip my eyes out there. So
at our golf outing, there's nothing but cottonwood everywhere. Right?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of cottonwood right now.
Oh yeah. Actually, a buddy of mine just bought like 85 bags of mulch and was black mulch and was going to put it down and talk to his neighbor. He's like, "Don't do it yet. Cottonwood's coming." And he's like, "I'm really glad I didn't because it would have just covered the black mulch with cottonwood."
That just sounds hilarious, actually. Well, it's 9:45. Are we? Should we start wrapping things up, or you got other things to talk about?
We can, unless there's anything you guys want to talk about real quick before we go.
Well, I am bummed that I'm going to be missing our game, and I'm sorry about that, guys. And hopefully, it won't happen too often.
You'll have to catch the VOD.
I honestly, I feel like I know that you're doing a gig and obviously getting some money, but I feel bad for you. I know how much I look forward to it every 2 weeks, especially like the week leading up to it, like starting today. I just have so much excitement every single time leading up.
I just picture you and your brother constantly doing the pee-pee dance all week. I can't wait.
But I am honestly like checking D&D and Beyond and like looking at my character, reading through my notes, maybe watching a little bit of the previous episode to kind of get back up to speed on things. It's just like overall exciting. It's something that I look forward to every 2 weeks and the days leading up to it. There's like, I love how much fun that I have with all you guys. I'm glad that I get to hang out with my sister and my brother so much, but also I've made such great, incredible friends with you guys as well over the past 2.5 years, and I'm looking forward to it every single time. I get where this is something that has been going. This is why it's been going on for 40 years, and I'm glad that I've been doing it for the last 2.5 years.
Almost 50 now.
I wish that I'd been doing it a lot longer because I see why it's lasted this long. Why there's so many editions, and it didn't have to take Critical Role to get people into it. It's been here this long. It's obviously got the revival, but it's been more than that. And I see like why it's like that. And talking to other people that I work with, even that some are newer and some that have been playing for a long time, I get the hype about it because it's just so much fun. Like, and those hours, the 4 or 5 hours that we play just fly by. It's like, where did the time go? I wish that we could keep playing more and more. Mm-hmm. I understand like why sometimes you guys even mention days that you guys go throughout the middle of the night and just game
Oh,
all
not-
day long.
Not anymore, but that was
No,
back,
no,
back
but
when
that's
we
a
were
young-
younger.
That's
I
a
know
young
that
man's
Chris-
game.
Yeah.
But I
We
know
would
that
start
Chris
on
has mentioned
Friday.
that before.
We
Yep.
would start on Friday, go through till Saturday till everybody collapsed, sleep for a couple hours, get something to eat, keep playing, play till sometime Sunday when everybody would be like, yeah, I guess I better go home.
And I can
Yep.
see how that could happen. And obviously we're not of that age anymore, but with Chris
Yeah.
talking about it even before, I remember when Chris, you and Russ, when you first started your Nerds with Alcohol podcast, you did a lot of D&D talk.
Mhm.
And I was disconnected from that part of it. I didn't really understand it. I still listened to it, but I just didn't understand it. When you started talking about Critical Role and I started watching it, then I got more into it. I started understanding a bit more. And when we started playing, it's like, wow, it completely changed like how I, approach that and why it made such a big deal to so many people in the world. So thanks for having us part of it. And,
Oh, shucks, buddy.
I mean, after we saw, I still get that excited. Just as excited as we did when we first started playing 2.5 years ago. It's the same today.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
It's just so cool and just so much fun with you guys.
rarely have I seen a player, like a newbie dive in as like wholeheartedly as you have.
I
mean,
try and think of like role play scenarios, like that thing that
The three of us do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
like
three of
Karen-
you have been
Karis and I-
fantastic.
mhm.
like that.
I mean, Richard literally read the player's handbook
Oh
cover
my
to cover
gosh.
more than once, and like
I
Rich
have
is Rich is a history buff. He wants to know the history of Greyhawk
and the maps
and
know where-
maps. Oh my
yeah.
god, the guy loves maps.
It's wild. I haven't read the book cover to cover.
I have.
I think he's read it cover to cover at least twice.
That's impressive.
But he's a history major. He's a history guy. That's what he does.
Mhm.
Like that's why he knows the history of yeah, these wars happened roughly here. Like the whole he knew the dates of IUs, even though
Right.
Octavian really didn't. Richard did.
It's impressive. It's very impressive.
So,
But yeah.
Chris, you got a great game, great story, and look forward to it.
And I got
every 2
a
weeks.
great
Absolutely.
cast of characters too. You guys have all been great. I love the role playing
thanks.
that you guys do. And Gribble's been a great addition just because
Yes.
he is kind of like the Papa Bear. He's just the
Yeah.
We're all young. We're all young.
I just see Grimbold in a constant Picard facepalm. Just
I see a lot.
Seeing
There's a
us
lot
all
of
doing
eye
that.
rolling
yeah.
A lot of eye rolling, I'm sure.
at the kids. Just oh god, these kids.
At the puppies.
Get the puppies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
before him, it was.
oh,
it was
sweet
Bennett.
summer children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only knew.
Before Grimbold, it was Bennett that was almost always.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Bennick was supposed to be in his early to mid 40s.
Yeah.
Right. This is an
Yep.
older.
He was
older
a seasoned war vet. He actually fought in the Greyhawk Wars.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now it's interesting. How do you explain before we go? How it's difficult to deal with age in D&D like that because you'd think a warrior in his 40s would not be 5th level like he was when we met him, or 4th, 3rd level, or whatever. You'd figure he'd be much more experienced, much more later in life.
So that's the thing. Not necessarily, because the whole idea here is that there are different classifications. So he would have been a veteran
Sure.
if he wasn't a player character. So the whole thing is that if you're a fighter or a ranger or a rogue or any of those, any of the classes, there's a difference between that and your commoners. Your commoners can reach a certain level, but it takes a special person to actually move beyond that and
Correct, yeah.
actually gain levels. So
Well, yeah,
that's
I mean,
that's what it
player-
is. That's where the
player
difference
characters-
is that it's that you guys are that classification of you've dedicated your life to the study of this thing. Whereas before, Bennick was probably he was a fighter, he was a soldier. He probably got to veteran status, but then he really dedicated his life to learning more of the art of fighting. and particularly cavalry fighting for him. He was a cavalier, and so it was learning how to interpose himself between enemies and his friends and things like that.
Right.
So I mean, that's really where what it comes down to is it's that type of thing.
Well, I picture Bennick as being an NPC that got moved up to PC status. You know, he was a guy. He was a side character that eventually got his solo book. You know, and you know, originally Deadpool was just a character in X-Force, and now he's who he is. So I guess that's kind of how I was picturing Bennick. So.
But yeah, that's the way I see it. Is it's more just they don't necessarily. It's a focus thing. It takes that special something to move beyond. And I mean, you guys may have. I'm trying to figure out if I want to actually build in like lengthy downtimes.
Like
sure.
Years, you're talking months or years versus like
I'd be down for
days
that.
or weeks, because like overall since the start of the campaign it's been 2.5 years, you know, and in a couple months 3 years, like in real time, but in game time it's been like only about 4 months.
Like a total of 4 months,
right. And we've gone from what
did we start 9th level.
Yeah, we've gone through 9 levels in that amount of time. And you're right. So that's one of those things that makes me go, wouldn't it take longer to do that? You know, so I'm actually completely cool with, like, you know, after we get to a certain point, Chris, you advance the time like a year or whatever. And where we've gone back to Phandalin and we have spent time studying and we've spent time training.
Doing our thing.
Trust me, I've got ideas for that. So
okay.
Like have us spend more than one night in our mansion.
Right.
And also kind of think about it like how a real person would be. Like, you know, the way that we approach it, we wouldn't be doing like, all right, this day I'm going to try and pack as much stuff as I can into going here, 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 and here.
Yeah, exactly.
None of us would do that in real life. We would be a lot lazier. We would be like taking downtime.
Errands day, I get it all fucking done.
Yeah, but that's one day. You're not going to do that every single day.
We've been doing that nonstop for 4 months, pretty much. With, you know, even our downtime days, we are looking through research. We are like trying to sell stuff.
That's kind of the difference, though. Our characters are professional adventurers. They do that kind of stuff. We are not. We are commoners.
Yeah.
We are NPCs.
Yeah, we are. We are all commoners.
But I'm sure even
I like to think I'm the PC in my story.
I got maybe 5 hit points.
So as someone like, I'll tell you, like in college when like I had to do research for my papers, I sat in the library and read, you know, dozens and dozens of books.
Yes.
And read
when you had to do it.
Because that was my job. That was my job in school.
Yep. But now
to learn and to compile all of that.
What'd you do this weekend while I was gone?
I played an unhealthy amount of Forbidden
that's
West.
That's like a perfect example.
Like a truly unhealthy level. Hey,
our characters wouldn't be doing that. They're always doing something.
Weeded the garden and cleaned the house. The only thing I didn't get to was vacuuming, and I'm really sad about that.
So when was the last time Climbrum vacuumed?
Well, they don't have electricity. We also have a staff.
We have a staff for that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, guys, we gotta.
We should wrap things up though.
Yeah, I'm waking up early tomorrow.
But overall, I do like that idea of like having like more of a long-term downtime, kind of like balancing it out of like more realistic.
Yeah, because we have been going. Yeah. All of our characters should be hitting burnout right now. Yeah, we have been going.
It's one of the things that's
ahead for 4 months.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's rarely actually introduced into a campaign. Even Vox Machina, I don't think they ever had any downtime. It went right from one to the next.
It definitely did that.
They did. There are times.
Campaign 2, it was just like nonstop.
There were a couple of times that they did jump sometime. There was like they spent time in Vasselheim. They spent time in Whitestone. It wasn't like a year though. It was like 6 months or something like that. But I do remember. I do remember, like, particularly when after.
See, I thought the whole Whitestone to Chroma Conclave was.
That was pretty quick, but it was still.
But that's the thing. So
after the Chroma Conclave, I think they took a.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. They went right from the Underdark, Craghelm,
Mm-hmm.
right back to Amon, right to Whitestone, back to Amon, then into the Chroma Conclave, which then took up the next, so much time. I mean, they were pretty much going at it for well over a year.
I think they did. I think they did still establish that they had times where there was like at least a week here, a week there, where they were just happened to be in Iman for a short time. It wasn't like they were like one day and then now we go to the next, and one day and now we go to the next. There were some small breaks, but there weren't like months at a time.
Yeah.
It was, but I seem to remember that there was a point where they stayed in Whitestone and just kind of rested for a while, but I can't remember exactly when that happened.
Yeah, like whereas in campaign 2 they just went full steam ahead almost the entire time.
Like when they started the bakery. Remember the bakery that they started with Terry and Darrington?
I never got that far.
All right, that's much later, but yeah, it was just like it's some silly little thing that they did. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there were breaks. But anyway, I think it's a great idea, and we should totally do it. So
yeah, and that's one of the things I want to do is I want to start doing more downtime activities. Give you guys more opportunity to do things with your characters, because like I've got the homebrew idea of if you want to become proficient in skills or languages, things like that. If you want to learn a new language, you can. So
there should be some kind of benefit to that.
Yeah.
To downtime. In fact, if I remember correctly, when I was in a second edition game in high school, that was the DM Jim. He would work that in. Like if we were in like a downtime for a long period of time, you could do something. You could weight train, or you could, if you roll a percentile and you get a certain percentile towards the next level of. So you'd be like, if you had a 16 strength and you roll the percentile for that amount of break, whatever that. If you got a 23, that was 23 towards the next 100 count towards the next. Like level of your, of your stat. Now, I mean, that was a homebrew kind of rule thing, but so things like that where you learn another language,
or like
whatever.
Take like that spell that I just got, teleportation circle. One of the notes at the bottom is if you cast this every day for 1 year, you can create a permanent one.
Right.
Well,
exactly.
how else would you do it unless if you actually work that into the game, that your entire adventuring group or your character was essentially idle for 1 year and and living in the exact same place and having that time, even though it takes 10 minutes to do it, you still have to be.
You got to be there
place
to do it for 10 minutes.
You do it for 9 months straight, and then you're called off to another city. For 2 days.
There goes 12,000 gold.
Yeah,
exactly. But it's written in there for a reason, so that way, if your story permits it, you have that ability to do something like that. And there's other options or other things like that as well.
Yep.
I do know. So I like that idea. Yeah, and it makes it more realistic, I think, for just our characters in general.
Yep.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that's going to about do it.
Yeah.
We will be back here on this Twitch channel Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, to play some D&D.
And tomorrow night, Chris and I will be back for Nerds with Alcohol at 8 o'clock, also on this channel.
That's right.
Tune in.
What will you be talking about tomorrow?
We're probably
Obi-Wan,
talking about
episode 3
for sure. We'll probably also be talking about the like I've got this article that I have been pulling up of the 100 best TV shows of all time. We'll probably go through some of that.
Yep,
and
I'd like to talk about Morton Caden's Monsters of the Multiverse. Or Morton Caden presents the Monsters of the Multiverse.
Right.
You didn't get up that hard copy, didn't you?
I did not get a hard copy.
Oh,
I have it.
You did.
I
it
have
was Russ that got it. Okay.
I want to get a hard copy because I'm a collector, but I do not have a hard copy. I have it on D&D Beyond.
And there's some other things to talk about. We've got
Ms. Marvel coming up. The Boys just started, which I haven't watched any of yet.
Gods Above.
Have you
Chris.
started
the Orville?
Stranger Things yet?
What's that?
Have you started Stranger Things yet?
I've watched the first episode of Stranger Things. I
haven't had the chance to yet.
I have not. The Boys, though, holy shit, it's really fucked up and it's amazing.
I heard that the Orville New Horizons is worth the wait. I haven't seen any of that yet.
Yeah, dude, definitely at least watch the first episode of Orville before tomorrow because it is really fucking good. Really, really good. Like, holy shit, good.
Yeah, Orville is the best Star Trek before Strange New Worlds
for you.
Yeah,
I
haven't watched the third episode of Strange New Worlds yet either.
I think they're 5 out now.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. I think I just watched the 5th episode yesterday.
Such a good show.
So good. Oh my god.
But yeah, so we'll be talking about lots of stuff tomorrow.
Lots of stuff. Always talking about good shit.
Well, Ms. Marvel's starting this week, and we got Umbrella Academy in like a week and a half.
Oh, it's right. Yes.
We got a month till Thor. Love and Thunder.
And 2 months till She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Well, 2.5 months.
Let's not jump the gun. Let's not rush.
But I mean, there's so much stuff coming out. Oh, there was something else I just heard that was coming out. What We Do in the Shadows is a month away.
Mm-hmm. So.
And anyway. I heard that they announced season 2 of Our Flag Means Death.
We need to get back to that.
Yeah, we need to finish that up.
Yeah, me too. I got to get to it too. But before we go on another tangent.
Yeah, we're going to take off. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. We will see you tomorrow and Friday, hopefully. Join us. Come in. Chat with us. Tomorrow, feel free. Come in. Chat with us. Talk and chat. We respond to everybody that talks in chat. Friday, we can't so much talk with you in chat because we're playing a game. But at break times, we'll make comments and stuff like that about things we saw in chat. So feel free to join us. We'd love to have you. Remember, subscribe, follow, whatever. And I think that's gonna do it. So
that's gonna do it.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.